Welcome to The Grind from unexplained.so. Coming to you across North America, I'm your host, Art Grindstone. In 2025, the world feels like it's unraveling at the seams. Geopolitical fires, cosmic enigmas, and hidden conspiracies colliding in ways that keep us all on edge. These stories aren't just headlines. They're reminders of how power, discovery, and deception shape our shared reality, pulling us deeper into uncertainty. What's ahead? First, we'll unpack Trump's bold order for airstrikes on Venezuelan cartel vessels, the facts, the fury, and what it means for global tensions. Then, the intrigue around NASA's handling of the interstellar comet 3I Atlas, where secrecy sparks wild speculation about photos from behind the sun. After that, the bizarre glitter conspiracy, revealing why the world's top manufacturer guards its biggest client like a state secret. We'll also dive into the mysterious crash near Area 51, where official silence only fuels the flames of theory, and much more. Catch the full breakdowns on our site at unexplained.co. Let's dive in. In the vastness of space, 2025 brought a visitor from beyond our solar system that ignited wonder and wild theories. Let's turn to the story of Comet 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object to grace our cosmic neighborhood. Discovered in July of that year by the Atlas Survey telescope in Chile, it started as just another faint blip among the stars, a routine find in the endless hunt for near-Earth objects. But astronomers soon noticed something extraordinary. As it hurtled toward the inner solar system, its brightness surged dramatically, flaring up like a distant signal flare. This wasn't the gentle glow of a typical comet. It was a burst that caught everyone off guard, prompting telescopes worldwide to swivel in its direction. What made it even more intriguing was the data hinting at an unprecedented shift in its trajectory. Initial calculations showed a path that seemed to curve just enough to suggest some form of course adjustment, though skeptics argued it could be observational error or gravitational nudges from unseen influences. For astronomers, this was a puzzle wrapped in excitement. For others, it sparked questions about whether we'd truly understood these wandering visitors from afar. After all, the first two interstellar objects, Oumuamua and Borisov, had already stretched our theories on cometary behavior. Oumuamua with its cigar shape and non-outgassing acceleration, Borisov as a more conventional comet but still alien in origin. 3I Atlas promised to push those boundaries further, drawing in both professional observers and armchair enthusiasts who pored over public data releases. As the comet approached its closest point to the Sun, or perihelion, on October 29th, the plot thickened in ways that fueled endless speculation. That date placed it squarely behind the Sun from Earth's view, a natural solar conjunction that created a blind spot for observations. No telescopes could peer directly at it without risking damage from the Sun's glare, leaving a gap in the data stream just when things were heating up. This timing ignited accusations of a NASA cover-up, with online forums buzzing about withheld information and shadowy motives. Demands echoed across social media. "Release the photos," users pleaded, convinced that spacecraft like SOHO or the Parker Solar Probe had captured images being kept under wraps. In reality, while those missions monitor the Sun constantly, their focus isn't always on transient visitors, and any data would eventually enter public archives. Yet the secrecy angle persisted, amplified by the comet's path aligning curiously with major planets, Jupiter's gravity, well perhaps slingshotting it, or so some theorized. Then there was talk of an Oberth maneuver, a propulsion trick where a spacecraft fires engines at perihelion for maximum efficiency, but applied here to a natural body, it sounded like science fiction. International scrutiny ramped up, with space agencies from ESA to Roscosmos issuing statements to clarify that no anomalies were hidden, just the limitations of solar observation. Stepping back, this moment highlighted how gaps in knowledge can breed doubt, much like historical celestial events that once seemed omens but proved to be astronomy's next chapter. When 3I Atlas finally emerged from that solar blind spot in late October, the revelations added layers to the intrigue without resolving everything. Coinciding with its reappearance, sunspots on the sun's surface reactivated unexpectedly, stirring fears of a potential geomagnetic superstorm that could disrupt satellites and power grids. Scientists were quick to note no direct Earth threat from the comet itself. Its trajectory would sling it back out to interstellar space, far from our orbit. But the timing raised eyebrows about cause and effect in astrophysics. Could the comet's passage have tugged at solar magnetic fields, or was it mere coincidence in the chaotic dance of the cosmos? Testing these links became a focal point for models simulating interstellar interactions with our star, probing how such visitors might subtly influence solar weather. Beyond the headlines, this event resonated with broader cosmic patterns, reminders that our solar system isn't isolated, but part of a galactic web where distant objects can ripple through local events. It echoed past solar maxima cycles, where sunspot activity peaks every 11 years, but with an interstellar twist that invited fresh research into these intersections. While the stars hold their secrets back on Earth, everyday puzzles and government silence stir similar intrigue. Shifting from cosmic visitors to terrestrial riddles, let's explore the shadows of secrecy in recent events. In a year already rife with unexplained phenomena, 2 stories emerged that captured the public's imagination, blending the extraterrestrial with the everyday, and revealing how silence from authorities can ignite widespread speculation. Our first thread takes us to the arid expanses of Nevada and what has become known as the Area 51 crash incident. Late in September 2025, witnesses near the infamous military base reported a streak across the night sky, followed by a thunderous impact just beyond the restricted zone. What fell from the heavens remains a puzzle, but local reports described a metallic object, partially intact, smoking amid the sagebrush. Within hours, military personnel swarmed the site, erecting barriers and declaring the area off-limits. By mid-October, as dust settled on the desert floor, the cordon remained firmly in place, with no official statements from the Air Force or any government agency. 5 weeks passed without a whisper of explanation, an unusual delay even for a facility shrouded in decades of mystery. Area 51, long synonymous with UFO lore and classified aircraft tests, only fueled the fire. Leaks began trickling out through anonymous sources. Grainy photos of unusual wreckage, whispers of non-human alloys, picked up by Las Vegas's 8 News Now. They aired segments interviewing ranchers who claimed to have seen unmarked helicopters hauling away debris under cover of darkness. Speculation exploded online. Was this a downed alien craft? Evidence of advanced reverse-engineered tech? Or perhaps a foreign drone intrusion? Conspiracy theorists pointed to historical precedents, like the 1947 Roswell incident, arguing this was just the latest in a string of government cover-ups designed to protect national secrets or hide contact with otherworldly beings. As the silence stretched, public distrust grew, with petitions demanding transparency circulating widely. Here's the crux. In an era of instant information, such opacity doesn't quell curiosity, it amplifies it, turning a remote crash into a national enigma. Shifting gears from the desert skies to the fluorescent-lit factories of the Northeast, we encounter the glitter buyer enigma, a bizarre tale that started in the mundane world of industrial manufacturing. Glitterex, the global leader in producing the shimmering particles used in everything from cosmetics to automotive paints, found itself under scrutiny in early 2025. During a routine earnings call, executives declined to disclose their largest client, citing proprietary agreements. This reticence might have faded into obscurity, but a New York Times investigation dug deeper, revealing that this mystery buyer accounted for nearly 40% of Glitterex's output, enough to coat millions of square feet annually. What could possibly demand such volume and secrecy? The article sparked a wildfire on social media, with Reddit threads dissecting supply chains and TikTok videos spinning wild yarns about hidden uses. One popular theory posited a massive government project, perhaps stealth coatings for military vehicles that rendered them invisible to radar under certain lights. Others veered into absurdity, underground bunkers lined with glitter for psychological operations, or even a celebrity's extravagant party prep gone rogue. Podcasts latched on, from true crime shows to tech dissectors, morphing this industrial footnote into a viral mystery. Let's step back for a moment. The real intrigue lies not in the glitter itself, but in why a simple business detail could balloon into conspiracy fodder. It underscores how everyday opacity in corporate America mirrors the veils of state secrecy, inviting the public to fill in the blanks with imagination. By year's end, the enigma persisted, with Glitterex standing firm on non-disclosure, leaving theorists to debate if the buyer was a tech giant, a defense contractor, or something far more clandestine. Tying these disparate threads together, we see common motifs of secrecy weaving through 2025's conspiracy landscape. Both the Area 51 crash and the glitter buyer saga highlight how official reticence, whether from military brass or corporate boardrooms, serves as kindling for the public's collective imagination. In the Nevada desert, a physical event demanded answers that never came, breeding tales of UFOs and interstellar intrigue. Meanwhile, in New Jersey's factories, an economic quirk blossomed into speculation about hidden agendas, from national security to sci-fi absurdities. From barren outposts to bustling production lines, these stories thrived on the same nutrient, the void left by withheld information. Speculation didn't just fill that void. It flourished, crossing platforms and borders as people connected dots across unrelated events. Analysts note this pattern echoes broader societal tensions where trust in institutions wanes, and every unanswered question becomes a canvas for doubt. These mysteries remind us of the games nations play on the world stage, as one analyst deciphers. To make sense of rising global strains, we turn to an expert using math to predict the unpredictable. In the realm of predictive history, Professor Jiang Xueqin stands out with his engaging YouTube channel, where he deftly applies game theory to unpack the complexities of geopolitics. Imagine a world where leaders' decisions aren't just reactions, but calculated moves in a high-stakes chess match. That's the lens he uses. Xueqin, a Beijing-based educator and strategist, draws on historical patterns and mathematical models to illuminate the fog of uncertainty surrounding major global events. Take the intensifying U.S.-China rivalry, for instance. He explores how economic interdependence clashes with military posturing, much like Cold War dynamics, but amplified by today's tech-driven arm race. Similarly, in analyzing the aftermath of the Ukraine war, Xueqin clarifies why alliances shift unpredictably, pointing to resource grabs and proxy influences that echo past imperial scrambles. His approach isn't about crystal ball gazing. It's grounded in evidence, helping viewers grasp why simple narratives fall short in such volatile times. By blending accessible explanations with real-world examples, like the Taiwan Strait tensions or NATO's evolving role, he makes the abstract feel immediate and relevant. Delving deeper into strategic insights and deception, Xueqin's work reveals how the mathematics of strategic interaction can forecast pivotal turning points amid chaos. Game theory, at its core, models scenarios where players, nations in this case, anticipate each other's actions, often incorporating bluffs and hidden motives. He illustrates this through concepts like Nash equilibria, where no side gains by unilaterally changing strategy, applied to current turmoil such as supply chain disruptions or cyber warfare escalations. Yet, his analysis is as provocative as it is insightful. Xueqin doesn't shy from suggesting that deception, a staple in international relations, might prolong conflicts unnecessarily. Consider the Ukraine conflict. He argues that miscalculations in signaling, say Russia's underestimation of Western resolve, create feedback loops of escalation, or in U.S.-China trade frictions, where tariff threats serve as bargaining chips in a prisoner's dilemma setup. This framework not only predicts flashpoints, like potential 2025 economic decoupling, but also urges caution against overconfidence in victory. Through thoughtful breakdowns, Xueqin encourages a nuanced view, reminding us that behind the headlines lie intricate calculations where one misstep can reshape alliances. Looking at broader implications, Xueqin's contributions herald a new genre of forecasting, especially resonant amid the tensions building toward 2025. In an era of multipolar power struggles, from Arctic resource claims to Middle East realignments, his method offers a structured way to navigate uncertainty, moving beyond punditry to probabilistic foresight. This isn't just academic. It has practical echoes in policy circles, influencing how think tanks model outcomes or businesses hedge risks. By popularizing these tools on YouTube, he's democratizing access to sophisticated analysis, fostering informed public discourse. As global flashpoints multiply, like climate-induced migrations or AI arms races, this predictive lens could prove invaluable, blending history's lessons with forward-thinking math to anticipate shifts before they erupt. Ultimately, it underscores a humbling truth. In geopolitics, certainty is the real illusion. With these tools in mind, examine the bold moves from Washington shaking the world. tensions simmer, President Trump's orders mark a sharp escalation on multiple fronts. In the fall of 2025, the world watched as U.S. military actions in Latin America took a dramatic turn. Let's turn to the first of these developments, the escalation of airstrikes in Venezuela. By October, official confirmations emerged from the Pentagon about targeted strikes on vessels linked to powerful drug cartels operating out of Venezuelan waters. What began as a focused campaign in the so-called war on drugs had quietly morphed into something larger. These operations, initially aimed at disrupting narcotics trafficking routes, now brushed against sensitive issues of territorial sovereignty. Venezuelan officials decried the strikes as blatant violations of international law, arguing that the U.S. was overstepping into their coastal domains under the guise of security. Analysts pointed to intelligence reports showing cartel ships carrying not just drugs, but potentially arms and fugitives, tied to broader hemispheric threats. Yet the strikes fueled global anxiety, with diplomats from Brazil to the UN expressing fears of a wider regional conflict. Imagine the scene: U.S. drones humming over the Caribbean, intercepting boats laden with contraband, while Caracas rallies its military in response. This wasn't just about cocaine anymore. It was a flashpoint testing alliances and borders in an already volatile neighborhood. Shifting gears to another bold directive, we arrive at the realm of nuclear policy and domestic security measures. Almost immediately upon taking office in early 2025, President Trump issued a stark order to the Pentagon: conduct live nuclear weapons testing without further delay. This directive, aimed at modernizing and verifying the U.S. arsenal amid perceived threats from adversaries, caught even seasoned defense experts off guard. The last full-scale U.S. nuclear test had occurred decades earlier, in 1992, under a moratorium tied to global non-proliferation efforts. Reviving it now sent ripples through Washington and beyond. Compounding the shock, Trump simultaneously authorized widespread deployments of the National Guard to key urban centers and infrastructure sites, citing heightened risks of unrest and foreign interference. Capitol Hill erupted in bipartisan alarm. Senators from both sides grilled military leaders in closed sessions, questioning the timing and necessity. Worldwide, the news sparked immediate panic. Stock markets dipped, and emergency protocols activated in allied nations. Picture the urgency in those first days. Technicians at remote test sites preparing warheads, while guard units rolled into cities under the cover of routine exercises. Here was the crux of it: a leader pushing the envelope on deterrence, but at the cost of renewed Cold War-era fears. As these events unfolded, the reactions painted a picture of uncertainty layered over very real strategic shifts. Apocalyptic headlines dominated the airwaves, from nuclear dawn banners on cable news to viral doomsday predictions online, often masking the nuanced national security consequences at play. In Latin America, the Venezuela strikes amplified long-standing grievances, with protests in Mexico City and Bogotá decrying U.S. imperialism, even as some governments quietly supported the anti-cartel push. Parsing fact from fear became essential. While the airstrikes did indeed heighten sovereignty disputes, they also disrupted major trafficking networks, potentially saving lives on U.S. streets. On the nuclear front, the test directive, though provocative, underscored America's commitment to a credible deterrent in an era of rising powers like China and resurgent Russia. Worldwide panic, however, wasn't unfounded. European leaders convened urgent summits, and non-proliferation advocates warned of a potential arms race revival. Let's step back for a moment. These weren't isolated moves, but threads in a larger tapestry of assertive foreign policy. In Latin America and beyond, the blend of military action and high-stakes rhetoric forced nations to recalibrate their stances, weighing alliance benefits against the specter of escalation. Across the globe, Moscow's signals echo these alarms in a dance of nuclear brinkmanship. No story of escalation is complete without Russia's parallel moves heightening the stakes. As tensions simmer on the global stage, Moscow's actions in late 2025 have drawn sharp scrutiny from intelligence agencies worldwide, painting a picture of deliberate preparation amid uncertainty. Let's turn to the escalation signals emerging from Moscow. In the closing months of 2025, reports surfaced of intensified efforts to secure key facilities across Russia. Bunkers deep underground were reinforced, vital infrastructure hardened against potential threats, and high-level officials quietly relocated to safer zones. These weren't isolated incidents, but part of a broader pattern confirmed by global intelligence networks, including assessments from Western allies. Satellite imagery and intercepted communications pointed to major nuclear posture drills, simulations designed to test the readiness of Russia's strategic arsenal. Imagine vast complexes in remote areas, buzzing with activity as engineers seal entrances and military units practice rapid response protocols. This isn't mere maintenance. It's a signal of heightened alert, echoing the strategic posturing that defined earlier eras of superpower rivalry. Experts note that such moves often precede diplomatic maneuvers or responses to perceived aggressions, raising questions about what provocations Moscow might be anticipating. Shifting northward, the Arctic maneuvers and accompanying rhetoric add another layer of concern. Russia's military has ramped up exercises in the stark, frozen expanses of Novaya Zemlya, a remote archipelago long synonymous with nuclear testing. Missile ranges there have hosted launches and simulations, with long-range systems put through their paces under the cover of polar darkness. These drills aren't conducted in a vacuum. They've been paired with civil defense preparations that feel eerily reminiscent of Cold War drills. Across cities like Moscow and St. Petersburg, authorities have distributed iodine tablets and updated evacuation plans, urging citizens to refresh their knowledge of fallout shelters. The rhetoric from the Kremlin has sharpened too, statements from officials emphasizing Russia's unmatched nuclear capabilities as a deterrent against hostile encirclement. It's a throwback to ideological divides, where every exercise serves as both a show of strength and a warning. Analysts see these actions as a way to project resolve, but they also stir memories of brinkmanship that once brought the world perilously close to catastrophe. To understand the broader implications, we must place these developments in global context. The year 2025 has been marked by uncertainties, from ongoing conflicts in Eastern Europe to economic strains and shifting alliances that have amplified nuclear rhetoric on all sides. Russia's moves come against a backdrop of stalled arms control talks and accusations of arms buildup elsewhere. Leaders in Moscow frame their preparations as defensive necessities, responding to what they describe as NATO's eastward creep and provocative exercises near their borders. Yet, from an international perspective, this escalation risks a feedback loop. where one nation's drills prompt countermeasures from others, inching the world toward a more volatile equilibrium. It's a delicate balance, where miscalculations could have irreversible consequences, underscoring the fragility of deterrence in our interconnected age. These threads weave a tapestry of a world on edge, where every signal matters. We've explored the unexplained ripples of 2025, from Trump's bold Venezuela bombing order and the intrigue of NASA's 3-eye Atlas photo mystery, to the shimmering secrets of the glitter conspiracy, and more. Dive deeper into these stories on unexplained.co. Subscribe to The Grind on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for more narrative dives into the world's enigmas. Tomorrow, we'll uncover another layer of mystery waiting to be revealed. I'm Art Grindstone. This is The Grind from unexplained.co. Thanks for listening.
Cold War stairs.